The top stories tonight in Y News. Metro Manila may not further ease community quarantine from July 16.
MRT operations resume today, and MRT steps up its contact tracing and anti-COVID measures to keep passengers safe from COVID-19 transmission while on board trains.
14-day lockdown in Navotas City begins on July 16. Highest one-day jump in deaths and recoveries recorded on July 12 was due to COVID-19 data harmonization with local government, according to the Health Department.
New Zealand records 0 COVID-19 cases in 9 days.
Berlin's Bet1 Aces tennis exhibition becomes the first sports event in Germany to allow fans in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, July 13, 2020. I am Harleen Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the globe. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untv.com. I am William Theo.
Philippine National Police will step up their anti-crime drive. Leia Ilagan has the details why.
The police are hoping that their strict enforcement of ordinances will discipline the public. The Philippine National Police will arrest violators of ordinances implemented in different cities and municipalities. This is a part of their anti-criminality and anti-COVID-19 campaign. Drinking liquor, smoking in public places, going topless in public, and violating curfew will face corresponding sanctions. Even those who violate the minimum health protocols, such as wearing face masks and social distancing, including curfew.
Yes, we will apprehend and file appropriate case. No? This is a national concern, no? Na dapat tulong-tulong tayo. No? So sana wag nang pasaway para wala na rin kaming hulihin.
General Gamboa adds they encourage local governments to come up with ordinances.
Encourage our local government units to come up with local ordinances, no? Kasi hindi naman siguro pag kunwari nakapag-fine ka and then twice ka na fine and then pangatlo imprisonment na, or you will be charged against a national law, no? Which should be Republic Act 11332.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
As passengers who use the LRT Line 1 are prohibited from speaking when on trains, even MRT passengers are prohibited from doing the same. If you are a MRT passenger, you may want to bring your own pen because you're going to need one before taking your MRT ride. Joan Nano tells us why.
As the Metro Rail Transit Line 3 resumes its operations today, stricter health and safety protocols are being imposed. Passengers are now required to accomplish a health declaration checklist before boarding the train, which can be useful for possible contact tracing. Passengers will be asked to provide their names, address, contact details, station entry, date and time of trip, as well as their body temperature.
Ito siguro, wag na nating itratong inconveniente. Ito na yung new normal natin habang wala pa talagang solusyon ng COVID-19. So yun na lang ang appeal namin sa mga pasahero natin na para rin naman sa kanila yon, no? Para in the event na kakailanganin, meron tayong pagkukuhanan. Rest assured naman sila lahat ng impormasyon nila dyan ay hahawakan namin in full confidence naman. Hindi yan isi-share kahit kanino.
Passengers are also prohibited to talk to other passengers or from answering phone calls while on the train in order to prevent possible COVID-19 transmission from any body fluids coming from an infected person. The MRT3 management also urges the passengers to use beep card or pay with an exact amount for fare in order to prevent any physical contact from ticket sellers. MRT resumed their operations with limited number of personnel. Only 14 train sets are running. Data from the Department of Transportation show that a total of 281 employees of MRT have tested positive for COVID-19. They are now under quarantine and treatment or medication. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Health allows the burial of people who died from COVID-19. But the DOH underscores there are guidelines in doing so. Aiko Miguel explains why.
The Department of Health reiterated protocols for those who would want to bury their relatives and loved ones who died from COVID-19. According to the DOH, those persons will have to get clearance from the DOH first.
Kailangan po gagawin ang disposal ng remains within 12 hours from the time of death. Preferred po o mas binibigyang priority ang cremation. Ngunit maaari pa rin pong maglibing provided na susunod po sa mga alituntunin ng guidelines na ito according to the order of priority. Ito po ang mga sumusunod. Dapat po naka-double sealed ang casket. Dapat po double flag burial or pwede rin po freezer para po mag-temporary storage.
Based on the Code of Sanitation in disposing bodies who died due to infectious diseases, the remains should be buried within 12 hours from the time of death. When bodies are buried, they can no longer be exhumed. Bereaved families should be consulted, especially considering their religion.
Kailangan din po nating isaalang-alang ang religion ng isang tao sa disposition procedure ng ating mga cadavers. Nakalagay din po sa guidelines na ito ang proseso para po sa mga kapatid natin na Muslim na pumanaw sa sakit na COVID.
The DOH is aware that crematoriums are overwhelmed with the increased number of COVID-19 death cases in the country. Also, there are reports of shortage of supply of urn or jars for ash. The protocols for burial or cremation of bodies who died due to COVID-19 are stated in the Department Circular Number 0067 the DOH issued last February. The DOH also confirms that some areas in the country have been observing the burial protocols for those who have died from the new coronavirus disease. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God. Meanwhile, Rosa de Cos is back to tell us why the community quarantine in Metro Manila may not further ease from July 16.
The case doubling rate of coronavirus disease in Metro Manila is shorter. The region has already reached its 70% hospital occupancy in the last 5 days. According to Malacanang, data do not suggest a relaxation of measures in Metro Manila. The existing community quarantine across the country will expire on July 15, including the GCQ in the National Capital Region. President Rodrigo Duterte on Wednesday will announce his decision on the quarantine restrictions to be implemented in the entire country from July 16. Let's listen to the statement of Secretary Roque.
Datos po ang tinitignan natin kung tayo po ay magluluwag. At siguro po at this point, the data does not indicate na po pwedeng magluwag po at least sa Metro Manila. Para lang po to manage expectations, no?
National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Secretary Carlito Galvez reveals even mayors of Metro Manila recommend to retain GCQ in their cities and suggest to implement a hybrid status of community quarantine. The hybrid status is opening up economic activities while letting the economic sector take the responsibility of ensuring safety precautions to prevent the spread of coronavirus. However, according to Secretary Galvez, there may be some areas in the countries to be placed under stricter community quarantine starting on Thursday. Here's Secretary Galvez.
Meron po mag-escalate at mga area po nito ay yung mga nakita natin na nagkakaroon ng new cases at saka mga spikes.
In other news, Harleen, presidential spokesperson Roque reveals that President Rodrigo Duterte had left Holosulu late this afternoon where he addressed the troops and visited wounded soldiers. The chief executive is expected to be back in Metro Manila tonight after his more than 1 week stay in Mindanao. Back to you, Harley.
Thank you so much, Rosalie Cause, for that report.
Elsewhere in Zamboanga City, Mayor Ben Climaco appeals to the national government to allow the back riding of a motorcycle rider's child or sibling. According to Mayor Climaco, a lot of families in the city depend on motorcycles for transportation. Using motorcycles will also make transportation for commuters easier now that only a few jeepneys are operational. Mayor Climaco also requests to allow the use a full face helmet instead of a barrier between the driver and the back rider. She explains that barriers are more prone to accidents. The mayor clarifies, however, that back riding on motorcycles is not allowed for same-sex partners. Meanwhile, National Task Force Against COVID-19 approves prototype motorcycle barrier designed by a transport service company. Let's find out why from Asher Kadapan Jr.
Since couple riding has been allowed for people who use motorcycles as their primary mode of transportation on July 10, different designs of improvised physical barriers can be seen online. The National Task Force Against COVID-19 initially approved the prototype motorcycle barrier designed by the provincial government of Bohol. Transport Service City Mover Corporation also produces prototype barriers with the same design. It is made out of steel and polycarbonate thermoplastic sheet that may be sturdily installed onto the motorcycle and costs about 2,000 pesos. They also recommend to NTF a body shield made of the same materials but lighter and cheaper, priced at about 1,000 pesos.
Siguraduhin lang natin na bukod sa matibay at maayos ang pagkakabit natin, yung pagdadrive natin ng maayos at ligtas, hindi lang yung makakapag-survive sa atin.
Another prototype motorcycle protective shield from the Transport Service Angkas was approved by NTF COVID-19. Angkas boasts the anti-COVID motorcycle passenger shield, highlighting its design for road safety, aerodynamic, lightweight, and ergonomic for passengers. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And in Camarines Norte, Bicol local governments are enforcing measures to prevent the entry of COVID-19 carriers in the province. The local government of Jose Panganiban has issued an executive order that requires every returning locally stranded individual and overseas Filipinos to undergo a coronavirus test before entering the town. The Kapalonga LGU prohibits the entrance of any type of vehicle with passengers on board who do not carry the necessary documents. In Daet, locally stranded individuals and returning overseas Filipinos are not allowed to go in home quarantine unless they are pregnant, senior citizen, or caring for an infant. DOH Region 5 has so far reported over 200 confirmed COVID-19 cases in the entire Bicol region, with 127 active cases remaining.
Baguio City will remain closed to tourist and leisure activities as long as the threat of COVID-19 lingers. Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong stressed this after reports that there are tour agencies that continue to accept bookings despite the prevailing community quarantine measures in the city. Mayor Magalong assures that violators will face consequences in accordance with the law.
The DOH informs the public that any laboratory or facility to be able to officially process COVID-19 tests must acquire license from the country's health department. Operating without license is prohibited and threatening, according to the DOH. It also reiterates that ClearBridge Medical Philippines is not authorized to conduct RT-PCR testing. ClearBridge Medical Philippines is not licensed by the DOH and has no application to become a licensed COVID-19 laboratory. Let's now take a closer look at the updated count of coronavirus cases around the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has now reached a total of close to 13 million confirmed cases in 188 countries, regions, and sovereignty. Those cases comprise almost 7 million from the Americas and close to 3 million in the entire Europe. The fast-spreading disease has claimed almost 570,000 lives, while more than 7.1 million patients across the globe have recovered from the new coronavirus infection. Thanks be to God. Meanwhile, the country's Department of Health says that 836 new cases were reported today, including 749 fresh cases and 87 late reported. That raises the total confirmed cases of coronavirus infection in the Philippines to 57,006. That is as of 4 p.m. today. We have lost 65 more patients, bringing the death toll to 1,599. The total active cases remaining in the country is 35,036. According to the DOH, 92.2% of the active cases yesterday have mild symptoms. Through our fervent prayers, medical interventions, and sacrifices of our medical frontliners, 4,325 more people have won their battle against the invisible enemy. That brings the total recoveries nationwide to 20,375. Thanks be to God.
Beginning July 16, Navotas City residents won't be allowed outdoors, and that's for 14 days. Dante Amento explains why.
Data from Navotas City Health Office showed a total of 931 confirmed COVID-19 cases in Navotas City as of yesterday. But despite increasing number of COVID-19 cases, residents still go outdoors. Now the city government will place Navotas under a 14-day lockdown beginning July 16, Thursday. Mayor Toby Tiangco has recently lamented the non-cooperation of residents by violating quarantine protocols. The mayor adds the Interior Department has granted his request for augmentation of security. During the lockdown, the city will conduct mass testing for COVID-19.
Tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung ating targeted mass testing. Nasa 300 per day na ang PCR test na ginagawa natin, no? So, tuloy-tuloy po yan. Kaya lang, hindi man pa pwedeng habang nagtitest tayo, masyadong maluwag ang paggalaw ng tao dahil hindi po bababa ang kaso pag ganyan.
Barangay NBBS, Dagat-Dagatan currently has the highest number of COVID-19 positive in Navotas City. Barangay Chairwoman Zinaida Tibulan says they still have not received the copy of the executive order regarding the lockdown. But she admits that residents really, not just in her barangay, continued violating community quarantine protocols. Their barangay hall and 50 meters radius surrounding areas are still under lockdown.
Sobra lang mahirap talaga na yung para totaling mawala yung sasabihin nating makontrol yung mga tao at yung mga bata talaga na lumabas.
Children here play outdoors without face coverings. Physical distancing is not observed despite the presence of barangay officials who remind them to practice health safety protocols.
Pabor ako if ever talagang ila-lockdown kasi nga po ang hirap kasi na yung mga tao kasi talagang lahat halos lumalabas na nung nagkaroon ng GCQ eh. Parang pakiramdam nila natapos na yung problema.
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The health department recorded the highest single-day COVID-19 deaths and recoveries yesterday, July 12. Our health correspondent, Aiko Miguel, tells us why.
The health department wasn't able to issue a case bulletin yesterday due to a significant volume of data that needed validation. The DOH released the report this morning, comprising of 2,124 additional COVID-19 positive cases. The data came from 67 out of 82 licensed testing laboratories as of July 12. This is why the total confirmed COVID-19 cases in the country spiked to 56,259 yesterday, including 2,009 additional patients. As of July 12, there were 16,046 recoveries in the Philippines. The highest number of death cases, 162, were also recorded, bringing the total death cases in the country to 1,534 on July 12. According to the DOH, the spike in numbers is attributed to data harmonization with local governments.
Asahan natin na sa mga susunod na araw, habang sinasagawa po natin itong data harmonization with our local government units, patuloy na tataas ang bilang ng mga recoveries na ating naitatala.
According to DOH spokesperson Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, there will also be weekly reconciliation of data with LGUs to ensure accuracy and that cases are validated.
Pero gusto rin po naming klaruhin na dahil ang updates na ito ay nakadepende sa reports na sinasubmit ng local government, maari din po itong bumaba. So maaring may mga araw na hindi kasing taas ng nai-report natin today ang number of recovered cases. But rest assured that we will report this as soon as the numbers are validated.
Starting today, the DOH has issued the new format of reporting COVID-19 cases in the country. Meanwhile, the DOH clarified they are not prohibiting home quarantine, but stringent quarantine protocols should be observed. The DOH statement came as a clarification of Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles' statement about home quarantine that this shouldn't be done to avoid transmission.
Pag gagawa tayo ng home quarantine, kailangan may mga conditions para pumayag tayo. Unang-una, may sarili silang kwarto tsaka may sarili silang banyo sa bahay. Pangalawa, masisiguro na meron tayong adequate monitoring sa kanila. So, kailangan na pupuntahan araw-araw, na-check natin, natatawagan. So, kung hindi natin makukomply itong conditions na ito, ang best pa rin talaga would be the temporary treatment and monitoring facility.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The National Kidney and Transplant Institute, or NKTI, has issued an advisory that their COVID-19 designated bed capacity has already reached the danger zone. The advisory also says, despite their continued efforts to ensure the safety and well-being of their employees, they still have recorded a significant increase in infection rate among healthcare workers, particularly with their frontline personnel in the last 2 weeks. NKTI is also requesting the public and other healthcare facilities to refer COVID-19 patients, whether probable suspect cases, to other facilities for immediate care and management. However, NKTI emergency room and staff shall continue to acutely manage only renal emergency cases and post-kidney transplant patients. Outpatient services will be given to non-COVID and non-pneumonia patients. NKTI will undergo decontamination based on the posted advisory. Filipinos who want to avail loans from the government agencies may do so with more than one option. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
Is your business or livelihood affected by the coronavirus crisis? If you are a member of the Social Security System or SSS, you may avail a salary loan equivalent to your 2 months' salary. You must have completed at least your 36 months of contribution. They also offer calamity loan of up to 20,000 pesos. For those who lost their jobs, you may avail unemployment benefit and receive twice of the 50% of your monthly salary. Take note, unemployment benefit is not a loan. All the mentioned SSS programs are processed online. If you are a member of Pag-ibig, you may avail the multi-purpose loan or calamity loan. Get as much as 80% of your contribution payable in 24 months. The Department of Trade and Industry, on the other hand, has the Negosyo sa Barangay program. DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez said it offers individuals livelihood assistance worth 8,000 to 10,000 pesos. Interested individuals may visit the negosyo centers in their municipal or city hall.
Hindi na sari-sari store. Doon sa lugar nyo ay wala pa or kulang pa ang sari-sari store.
The Small Business Corporation has also allotted 1 billion pesos for the COVID-19 Assistance to Restart Enterprises or CARES program. Micro and small enterprises may avail 10,000 to 500,000 peso loan. SB Corporation said they are now seeking additional budget before reopening the application for the program. It has already approved 3,000 out of the 23,000 applicants.
Walang collateral. Ito ay walang interest din. At ang payable to ng mula 18 buwan hanggang sa 30 buwan ang total loan payment.
Ray Pilayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Many Filipino workers have been displaced for months, brought about by the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Department of Labor and Employment has noted more than 90,000 Filipinos lost their jobs due to retrenchments and both temporary and permanent closure of business and establishments. Despite this, an online job portal says some companies continue to hire people amid the pandemic. According to Job Street Philippines, up to 40,000 job openings are currently available on their website from 16,000 companies looking for applicants. Most of them are from the business process outsourcing or BPO industry with work-from-home arrangements. In its May 2020 report, the BPO industry tops the list with the most job openings, followed by government jobs and education. Among the in-demand roles include call center agent, teacher, nurse, engineer, and customer service representatives, among others.
So nakita namin that the companies are now starting to, change the way they recruit. And also, nakita namin yung kanilang jobs, ino-offer na nila sa iba't ibang segment, lalong-lalo na yung work from home. Gumagawa na sila ng online interview, gumagawa na sila ng options for work from home, ino-open na nila yung part-time, ino-open din nila yung mga freelancing. So, yung job seeker, naghahanap din sila ng trabaho na nasa bahay lang sila, wala nang pag-commute, at saka yung mga mas malapit na office sa bahay nila.
JobStreet.com Philippines country manager Philip Gioca adds most of the job seekers are millennials and Generation Z. The online job portal says they are partnering with the Civil Service Commission or CSC to invite other government agencies in using their platform to reach more job seekers. They also initiated a hashtag #WorkNow that applicants may use in their profiles to alert companies that they need immediate employment. Meanwhile, the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority or TESDA still offers its online program for free, especially for displaced workers such as returning OFWs. Based on its tally from March to July, out of its more than 700,000 total enrollments, 329,000 learners completed their online courses. For those who are interested to enroll, visit www.etesta.gov.ph. Jago and William, we are on board the UNTV radio mobile booth and we are here in Commonwealth Avenue in Batasan Hills, Quezon City. Let's take a look at the situation on the road. For motorists coming from Elliptical Road going to Fairview via Commonwealth Avenue, expect a moderate to at times heavy traffic flow. Meanwhile, on the other side of the road, we have a light to moderate traffic from Fairview going to Elliptical Road to EDSA. And for our weather update. Tropical Depression Karina maintains its strength while heading towards Luzon Strait. In its fifth severe weather bulletin, Pag-asa says as of 4 p.m., the center of Karina was located at 165 kilometers east of Apari, Cagayan, moving west-northwestward at 15 kilometers per hour. It has maximum sustained winds of 45 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 55 kilometers per hour. According to Pag-asa, a landfall scenario is possible over northeastern tip of Luzon, Babuyan Islands, and Batanes. Tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 remains in Batanes, Babuyan Islands, and the northeastern portion of mainland Cagayan, which are Santa Ana, Gonzaga, Santa Teresita, Bugway, Camalanyugan, Apari, Lalo, Cagataran, and Bagao. Scattered to widespread moderate to heavy rains may experience over Cagayan, including Babuyan Islands, Isabela, Apayao, Abra, Kalinga, and Ilocos Norte. Meanwhile, scattered light to moderate with at times heavy rains may experience over central Luzon and the rest of northern Luzon. Pag-asa adds flooding and rain-induced landslides may occur during heavy rainfall, especially in areas that are highly susceptible to these hazards. Karina is expected to weaken into a low-pressure area on Wednesday.
Meanwhile, Malacanang admits Congress's disapproval of the ABS-CBN franchise renewal is a big loss. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the media giant has the widest reach in the country in terms of its broadcast operations. However, everyone must respect the decision of Congress, and this is also the position of the president. The palace adds, like any other beneficiaries amid the pandemic, ABS-CBN employees who may lose their jobs due to the issue can avail of assistance by the government.
Meron ba hong malaking kawalan dahil hindi nabigyan ng franchise ang ABS-CBN? Aaminin ko po, meron po. Dito po sa Office of the Press Secretary, mas matindi pong interview ang gagawin natin dahil nawala po yung pinakamalaking reach para sa dissemination natin.
A group of lawyers proposed getting people's signature to renew the franchise of ABS-CBN. But according to a law expert, the act has loopholes and is impractical. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
With the Committee on Legislative Franchise of the House of Representatives killing the franchise application of ABS-CBN, and the chance to file a motion for reconsideration lapsing, there has been little recourse left for ABS-CBN. But a group of lawyers proposed for a people's initiative to grant ABS-CBN its franchise. Citing Republic Act No. 6735 or the Initiative and Referendum Act, the public can initiate to directly propose, enact, approve, or reject laws and even the Constitution. That is why a draft petition has been released by a group of lawyers led by Attorney Dino De Leon in a bid to use the People's Initiative to grant ABS-CBN its franchise through RA 6735. To enact a law under RA 6735, one needs to secure the signature of at least 10% of the total registered voters in the country. The law also requires that every legislative district must be well represented by at least 3% of its registered voters. Attorney De Leon says the bill may need resources and time, but it will be doable. But there are also things to consider when using the People's Initiative in passing and enacting a law. According to Attorney George Erwin Garcia, Dean of the College of Law of the Pamantasang Lungsod ng Manila, a franchise bill is considered a private bill by the Congress. According to our Constitution, the House of Representatives has the exclusive power to grant this.
When you say exclusively, it would appear to the exclusion of any other body, in fact, even by the people in an initiative. Bakit? Kasi nagsabi na ang sambayanan sa pamamagitan ng konstitusyon na as far as a franchise, a private will is concerned, magsisimula yan, manggagaling yan sa House of Representatives.
The Dean of Law also mentioned that it is also impractical because aside from the fact that it will consume resources, the process may also take several years.
Okay lang yung verification process which will take several months. How much more yung technical examination? It will take years. Kami nga sa isang simpleng protesta, nagpapatechnical lang kami ng mga 1,000 signatures, inaabot ng buwan 6.7 million yan. Gano'ng kadami ang technical experts ng COMELEC? Wala pang 10.
In other words, those in position might have already been changed long before the People's Initiative may be enacted into law. But despite these realizations, Attorney George Erwin Garcia says the option of having a People's Initiative to enact a law proves that the public still has power in managing our country, a testament to democracy. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, here's Elsie Marcos live from Auckland, New Zealand. Elsie, what have you got for us tonight?
William, today, New Zealand records 0 COVID-19 cases in 9 days. I will also tell you why South Africa imposes another alcohol ban. And China announced today reciprocal sanctions against the U.S.
Go ahead, Elsie. Please tell us why.
For the first time in 9 days, there are no new COVID-19 cases in New Zealand today. Director General of Health Dr. Ashley Bloomfield even said it had been 73 days in this country since the last case of community transmission. There were 1,043 COVID tests conducted on Sunday, and to date a total of 429,643 tests had been completed in New Zealand, said Bloomfield, who is back at work after a holiday last week. He also said that he had a meeting planned in the next fortnight with his counterpart in Australia to share details about the response to the pandemic. Bloomfield said he had noticed while on holiday that it felt like life is back to normal in New Zealand. But he noted the World Health Organization had revealed overnight the single biggest day of new COVID cases worldwide, more than 230,000 in 24 hours. He also said that there is a significant pandemic offshore, so we still have to be vigilant. Despite getting down with COVID-19, Brazilian Jair Bolsonaro continues working, now wearing a face mask. Chris Perez has the story.
After months of downplaying anti-coronavirus measures, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has gone down with coronavirus disease 2019. He is now about to enter his second week of cloistered life, working at the presidential palace in Brasilia. Seen wearing a face mask and keeping a distance away from others, Bolsonaro continues to work at the Palacio da Alvorada. His meetings, even those previously scheduled, are now done virtually or via video conference. Bolsonaro has been heavily criticized for leading what many call a botched response to the spread of the coronavirus in Brazil. On July 9, the Brazilian Press Association filed a criminal complaint at the Supreme Court against Bolsonaro after he took off his mask in a televised interview in which he announced he had tested positive for the disease, which he had earlier dismissed as a little flu. In its complaint, the Press Association alleged that Bolsonaro had committed at least 2 crimes related to putting someone's life or health at imminent risk and failing to prevent the spread of an infectious disease. Meanwhile, Brazilian First Lady Michelle Bolsonaro has tested negative for the illness. The Federative Republic of Brazil, the largest country in both South America and Latin America, now has more than 1.8 million confirmed COVID-19 cases, including close to 72,000 deaths, but over 1.2 million recoveries. Chris Perez, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The regional government in Catalonia, Spain, decided on Sunday to reimpose lockdown measures beginning Monday in the city of Lleida and 7 other areas due to surging COVID-19 cases. The decision came following the recent outbreak in some parts of the country. As one of the hardest hit regions in the epidemic, Catalonia reported 816 new patients on Sunday. In Catalonia, a total of 76,318 cases have been reported since the epidemic broke out, and the death toll from confirmed or suspected cases has reached close to 13,000. Meanwhile, South Africa has introduced new restrictions, including another ban on alcohol sales. The wearing of masks outdoors is now compulsory, and the nighttime curfew has been imposed. President Cyril Ramaphosa said the alcohol ban would take pressure off the national healthcare system. This is South Africa's second alcohol ban this year. It comes as total infections exceed 250,000. South Africa remains the hardest hit country on the continent. Ramaphosa said a state of emergency would be extended until 15 of August. Doctors and police say the previous alcohol ban contributed to a sharp drop in emergency admissions to hospital, but the country's brewers and winemakers complained they were being driven out of business. In other news, China's foreign ministry announced today reciprocal sanctions against the U.S. Congressional Executive Commission on China. Ambassador-at-Large for International Religious Freedom Samuel Brownback, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and Republican Chris Smith. Hua Chunying, spokesperson of the Chinese Foreign Ministry, made the announcement at Monday's media briefing. Hua said that China will impose reciprocal sanctions on the mentioned commission and 4 individuals effective immediately in response to U.S. sanctions. The U.S. actions seriously interfered in China's international affairs, violated basic norms governing international relations, and seriously damaged China-U.S. relations. And China firmly opposes and strongly condemns them, Hua said. U.S. had on Thursday imposed sanctions and visa restrictions against some senior officials of the Chinese Communist Party in response to human rights violation in Xinjiang. And those are the reasons behind the news here in New Zealand and in other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Elsie Marcos and the rest of the UNTV News and Rescue team in New Zealand. You stay safe there.
Berlin's Bet1 Aces tennis exhibition becomes the first sports event in Germany to allow fans in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. Miguel Rey de Leon tells us why.
Berlin's health authorities have approved a limited number of people for Bet1 Aces as well as for another tournament a few days later. German tennis player Julia Gerges, world number 38, said on Saturday spectators bring the emotions and the atmosphere to the game. German Chancellor Angela Merkel says she is pleased that although the Grass Court Championships Berlin cannot take place, the Bet1 Aces as an attractive substitute tournament will proceed. The maximum number of followers in attendance will be 800 per day for the July 13 to 15 outdoor event on grass. At another tournament to be played on a hard court in a hangar at Tempelhof Airport from July 17 to 19, authorities have allowed for a maximum of 200 spectators per day. Organizers warned in the past weeks that players would be excluded from competing should they break COVID-19 hygiene rules after Djokovic, his wife Jelena, 3 other players, 3 coaches, and 1 player's pregnant wife tested positive for the virus after the Adria Tour, which was initially meant to ease tennis out of lockdown. Out of Germany's close to 200,000 confirmed coronavirus cases, over 184,000 patients have recovered. Miguel Rey de Leon, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news, July 13, 2020. I am Harleen Delgado. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And I am William Theo. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Have a great evening, everyone.